Hey, in cabinetry, you've been asking about unbalanced panels? What the heck is that? Watch this video and learn. You don't do metric? No big deal. Through the course of this last year, we've done a lot of LR32 line boring with the Festool system. And today, I'm going to cover when you build an imperial and do unbalanced panels. To first understand what an unbalanced panel is, let's talk about a balanced panel. And in all the videos we've ever done in the SedgeTool shop, I've always used balanced panels because that's the way I was taught. It's the wicked easy way for setup. It's super, super duper easy to understand. I'll post those videos below. Now, a balanced panel is one that's cut on an increment of 32 millimeters. Whether you're building face frame or frameless, it's how to work the sides of the cabinet to do your adjustable shelf pin holes, your hinge plate holes, and eventually your cup hinge holes on your doors. So I'm gonna measure this. This is one we did in the previous video. This is a balanced panel. And when I stretch out my fast cap tape, it reads on a dot, a little diamond on here, 768 millimeters. That helps us set up our guide rail to punch out the holes with one set of lines. You'll understand what I'm talking about in just a few minutes if you continue watching. So before you leave a comment, look down below. I'll have a link to this tape measure I use in just about every daggone video I make. It's by FastCap. Okay, and the nice thing about it is it has a imperial scale on it, but also metric. So if you get confused, you know, and you're doing a quick change between the two, okay, but also on here, every 32 millimeters is a little diamond, kind of like the diamond like on 16 on center on imperial tapes for construction. Okay, so say you have a set of plans and it calls for a specific measurement in imperial, okay? And let's just say I just cut this, for instance, and it's 23 inches. Now, if we look at the metric equivalent, 23 inches is basically 585. Now this is important because remember those little diamonds I talked about? One here and one here. See how it falls in between the 576 and the 608? Well, guess what? This is now an unbalanced panel. Let me show you now how to set up the LR32 system with those end stops to ensure that all those holes line up back and front. This is where it starts to get a little complicated. All right, and I'm not trying to sell you on metric, all right, but here we go. Okay, so what you need to do is label your front, back, top, and bottom. And it's pretty easy. You can label it 1, 2, 3, 4. Just make sure you label everything. You saw my labeling in the B-roll. I do an F for front, back. I just always lay out back, top, and bot. Bot is my bottom. Make sure when you're building a series of cabinets, you label everything right now. It's all about the setup of the guide rail right here, or what I call the holy rail. Now, on these pieces here, these are called end stops. There's a 16, okay, that's engraved on this. And there's also, if I flip over, there's a 32. What I did for the video is I highlighted them with a little Sharpie. What the end stop does is it allows us to register the guide rail to punch these holes from the end, whether the bottom or the top. So you've heard me say on previous videos that are down in the description, I always take it when I do the sides, I take the 16, and when I place it in here, see it'll register in the holes like that. The 16 is up facing me and out toward me. And then I just take the knob and place it in here like this. So when I place it on the stop and I turn this around, you're going to see the stop is right in the middle of that first 32 millimeter hole. So half of 32 is 16. So using these hinges, this is the hinge and this is the hinge plate. And the reason I did 16 is because I count, when I put this here, I count 3 full holes, and that places me 16, 32, and 32 is 80. And that's where the first hole of that hinge plate should be. So this is something that I remember if I do an unbalanced panel. I have 2 different color Sharpies to mark my rail. I use the blue one to mark where I'm going to make my holes in the front on the rail, and then the red one for the back. So what I'm going to mark now, when I count 1, 2, 3, that means I'm at 80 millimeters. 16 plus 32 plus 32 is what? 80. Once again, I'll mark my rail here and here. Okay, so we'll punch from the bottom. I always register from the bottom, okay? And when I flip it around, I'll do the same with this end stop from the bottom. You could always register from the top if you want, but I just always know that I'm gonna go from the bottom. It's just the way I build, okay? So I'm gonna take that end stop down here because we're gonna do the 2 holes here for the bottom hinge, and we got to do the top hinge plate. So I'm going to take the 16 up and out. I'm going to place it here, and you're going to see when I flip this over, I have some wiggle room. So I have to clamp and unclamp it twice to make it happen, to do this one. And I'll label this one as well. Now watch. When I do this hinge, it's from the bottom, but this one, I'll unclamp it and clamp it again because I'm just going to do these 2 holes. So I'll count 1, 2, 3, right? And I'll make my mark here and here in blue because I'm working from the front. I got to remember how to do imperial. Half of 23 is 11 and a half. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to mark my guide rail right here at 11 and a half, and that's my center line. So could I go and punch out all these holes? Of course I can, but I want to put like 4 of them close to the center. So I'll pick where my center line is. I'll go 1, 2, and then 1, 2 below the center line. I'm going to register this end stop from the bottom, and I got my parallel stops on here. So I'm going to take that, bring that end stop in, set that up, and get it clamped. So I'm gonna bore right now from the front and registered on the bottom hinge plate and the front shelf pins. Okay, the reason I mark the rail in 2 colors, you'll know in a few minutes when I do the back, but I want to see it from this side because I line up my cursor there. See how the end stop at the top does not meet? So what we have to do to punch the front hinge plate is we have to release this and bring it down and do a whole new reset with the parallel edge stops as well. So to do, it's another setup, but to do the top hinge plate, we're gonna register this end stop because we have that little wiggle room, and set it up again with the parallel stops here from the front edge and bring that in. Just a little review before we move on and unclamp it. We have the hinge plate holes here and the 4 shelf pin holes from the front edge. Now, it's another setup for the back. That's why the red Sharpie. This is where you can get really disorientated when registering the rail. Always look here. That's my bottom. That's where this end stop I have, and this is the back because we know because it is the groove. So I'm going to place that on here like this, and bring that in. And to me, when I look at this, something's not quite right. So when I count the holes in between, the blue ones here, from the bottom it was 1, 2, 3, and over here, because we wanted it close to center, was 1, 2, 3, 4. So to make sure these holes in the front line up with the ones with the back, what we'll do is we'll remark the rail with a red Sharpie. And of course, we're gonna go one below, because look, 1, 2, 3 matches the 1, 2, 3 from the top. Then we'll mark this one in red as well, and they're gonna be overlapping. So now in the window, we have 2 colors, but we know we're doing the back, so we'll punch the red lines. So I just take a square to verify, and yes, the holes all match up. Absolutely perfect, so you won't have any awkward shelving in there. So in this video, I'm trying not to promote metric over imperial, because I could have cut an unbalanced panel using the metric system, okay, but not following into that measurement that's divisible by 32. Hopefully that made sense. Now, here is one I have cut for several videos. I cut it at 768. It's divisible by 32. And this is why a balanced panel is so much simpler. Because if we remember in this video, we had two dual sets of lines, one for the front and one for the back to align the shelf pins. But we also had 3 setups of clamping and registering and unclamping, because we had to do the hinge plate from the top and the hinge plate from the bottom while doing on one of the setups the shelf pins. Where, because this is balanced, this panel, I only have 1 set of lines and only 2 setups of clamping, registering, and then unclamping, okay? Because this fits in between with the end stops absolutely perfect with no wiggle room, okay? So I can punch my top and bottom hinge plates at the same setup from the front, including the shelf pins. Wow, that was a big mouthful. A balanced panel is so much easier when you're building multiple cabinets than an unbalanced panel. And you want to talk about getting disorientated. Front, back, you know, top, bottom, 2 sets of lines. What's the red? What's the blue? It's confusing. I've seen videos on it all over the place. Some people use a Sharpie, some people use dots. I get confused. I think it's overcomplicating a system, which can be very easy. Once again, in the description, we have done several videos this year on how to use the LR32 system from Festool, the line boring system, using a balanced panel. So check them out. I think hopefully at the end of this video, you'll understand, wow, maybe I should measure it in a 32mm increment. So, as we always say from the SedgeTool shop, oh, hang in there, I got a question for you. Oh, that last question I got for you. Hey, leave in the comments, do you like to eat cold pizza in the morning that's left over from the night before, or do you take it and warm it up? I think this is one of the greatest breakfasts ever. So as we say in the SedgeTool shop, be positive, stay sharp, and we mean wicked sharp.